Oh, hi. This is Paula. This is whoever holds the stone.
Tom Mazur here.
My stone is missing.
Oh, wait a minute. I brought a stone for you.
This is Tom.
No,
and
that's my pedometer.
I'm here with Richard, and I'm here. Look, we have a new stone. Oh, it's very warm from your pocket.
Well, there you go. Hot stuff.
Apparently Tom's hot stuff. It's a kidney-shaped stone.
Well, maybe I got good kidneys.
Or what is that called? That I'm trying to think what that's. Paisley. It's a paisley-shaped stone.
Oh, good.
Okay.
He originally taught me about the person who holds the stone tells the story.
Uh-huh.
And that was what inspired me when you said it would be nice to have a show where only one person could talk at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
Influences, baby.
It's a full circle. We've made a full circle.
I can talk.
But okay, so I usually start. Tom's not here today, so I don't have to announce him. So I usually start the show with something from a book I'm reading. I'm reading Life of Pi, and my sister Susie, she will, when she comes to town, she will bring me all the books that her daughters have sent her over the year. And this is one of those books that happened to be sitting on my bookshelf behind my bed. I wasn't really that interested in reading it, but now that I'm reading it, I'm enjoying it. So it's supposed to be a story that someone told to the author, but I think it's just purely fiction. All right, so I want to read this quote about religion, which we'll probably have some discussion about since... So it starts off, religion is darkness. There are no grounds for going beyond a scientific explanation of reality and no sound reason for believing anything but our sense experience. A clear intellect, close attention to detail, and a little scientific knowledge will expose religion as superstitious bosh. God does not exist. Why tolerate darkness? Everything is here and clear if we only look carefully. Some people say God died during the partition, P-A-R-T-I-T-I-O-N, in 1947. He may have died in 1971 during the war, or he may have died yesterday here in Pondicherry in an orphanage. That's what some people say, Pi. When I was your age, I lived in bed, racked with polio. I asked myself every day, where is God? Where is God? Where is God? God never came. It wasn't God who saved me. It was medicine. Reason is my prophet, and it tells me that a watch stops, so we die. It's the end. If the watch doesn't work properly, it must be fixed here and now by us. One day we will take hold of the means of production, and there will be justice on earth. Good writing, huh?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Do you know how that the movie ends?
I didn't see the movie. I didn't read the book, so...
So he tells the whole... Well, first of all, the movie is about, you're on a life raft and there's a tiger on the life raft.
Well, yeah, I remember parts of that.
Yeah.
And you learn to get along with the tiger, et cetera. And so he tells the whole story. And then at the end, you realize he's telling it to somebody who's interviewing him. And the person says, how much of this really happened? And you know what the person says? Well, let me tell it to you a different way. What really happened is the ship had this problem, and then I was marooned on a raft, no tiger, no nothing, and put with the cook, and the cook's nickname was Tiger, et cetera, et cetera. And he tells it. And then when he finishes, he says, which story do you prefer?
Well, this is, okay, so according to the way this is written, I'm only on page 30, I'm on page 44. And according to the way this is written, the writer of the book was trying to write a different book, and he wasn't inspired. It was falling flat. And so he ends up meeting this guy, this man. His name has got a long name, but they call him Pi. And so he's talking to this Pi, and he tells him his whole life story. and then he writes the book based on his life story. So that fits in with what you're saying. But as far as I never mind knowing the end because
Me neither.
yeah, I don't mind that because I like to know how you get there more than the actual end. So I'm not. I'm not weird like that because Greg doesn't like any to hear it. He doesn't even like to watch previews
Well,
of it.
if I'm going to see a movie, I will often ask AI, give me a summary and reveal the ending. So it'll tell me the ending. And if the ending is, it ends on an ambiguous note where you don't know if A or B, I think it's not a good storyteller.
Well, do you know what I do when I'm reading a book and I get nervous because one of the characters is in trouble? I did this a lot with Emma. Was it Emma? I can't remember now, but I did it a lot because I was worried about the characters. So I'll ask AI, what happens to such and such a character in this book? And they'll tell me, and then I'll be relieved, and then I can continue reading.
Oh.
So
I often wonder now how I got through all these literature courses that I had to take. There was when you says you're on page 33 or something like
40,
that.
44, yeah.
44. I says, geez, I got to get through this book, and I had to force myself into some kind of rhythm to get through it. Now, like you're saying, this person was writing, and so they had to force themselves to change the direction of the writing.
Right. Well, yeah.
But we're all fighting to get something out of words. And so you like to ask in advance.
I do.
AI. I would never do that. I would like to be surprised.
Yeah.
Even though I know we're all going to die, I just.
But we don't know
I want
how.
to be surprised.
Yeah.
A lot of people
so
like
there was
surprise.
an article I was ready to read, and I'm going, why? Here's what happens the first 60 seconds after you die. Then I'm going, well, Jesus, is this bullshit? Because how would anybody know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Good
when
question.
people say, well, I came back from death, were they really dead, or did they just think they were dead?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's
Right.
like certain, like I know the first time I heard the term actively dying, I was shocked.
And what does it mean?
Okay, so it was Greg and I went down to see Greg's father in Florida,
Yeah.
and he was in a nursing home, and he had a lot of problems because he did not take care of his. I mean, it's not this; it's his fault, I mean, but we all have some control over our health, right?
Mhm.
He did not take care of his health. So we went down there after his wife died because we knew that there'd be nobody there to, comfort him that his wife had died, and his wife was coming every day to see him in the nursing home. But when we got there, the nurse, he was asleep, and the nurse said, he's in the process of actively dying. And I'm thinking, actively dying? That's like a contradiction in terms, right? And she said, oh, yes, actively. Your organs start to shut down. All of the things in your body start to slow down. And your consciousness is, you're usually in like a twilight area. And your body systems just I can't say that word.
Methodically?
Thank you. Methodically start turning off. And so I'd never heard that word before, or that phrase.
Yeah.
And so we were there with him for a while, and it seemed like he was sleeping. He wasn't in a coma. He wasn't hooked up to a lot of stuff. But he was quiet and sleeping. And so Greg and I stayed there for a while, and then we said, okay, call us if anything happens. And by the time we got back, because he was in Sarasota, by the time we got back to Orlando, we got a call that he died. And if we would have known that, we may have stayed. But, there was a long drive to get back to Orlando.
I did a lot of pastoral care.
Oh, that's right.
And I also did a lot of work in palliative care.
Mm-hmm.
And it is,
What's the difference?
well, I mean, palliative care is end of life.
Yeah.
And if say you broke your pelvis and I'd come to visit you, it's a whole different situation than somebody winding down.
Yeah.
But the staff and the nurses, they seem to know when this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I could sense that there's a change, that they're ready. The breathing is changed and all that. But that is so interesting that people say, your hearing is the last to go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've heard that.
But the one time I walked in and the mother's there and the son's there and the daughter's there, and I says, I had this Sun magazine in my pocket. And they says, what are you reading? I says, this is an interesting thing. I says, I was reading this poem within this Sun magazine. I wish I had it. And I says, it reminded me of your father. And they says, can you read it to him?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, all right. But he was unconscious. But they said that, his hearing, he still can hear us, So, but then I'm thinking, well, as I'm reading this, do they know the connection of why I thought
The poem applied.
to him?
Yeah.
And would he know that? I mean, because if you make a connection to somebody, you can say, oh, yeah, this reminds me of Tom.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
They're right, because you have to know the context.
Right.
Yeah.
A viewer's asking a question.
Oh, okay. Approximately what year comments?
Oh, a Sun reader.
Oh,
I
love it. In fact, I'm in the process of reading the Sun magazine right now. It just came in the mail, and
Do you know what-
I love it.
do you know
I've got. This is an interesting thing. Sun readers have a way they approach that, the magazine.
Which would be why she was interested in.
Right.
But
she feels a connection with
say,
you.
the person may say, "Oh, here's the Sun magazine." I go to the end page.
Yeah.
And then I go to the front, and then I read the poems,
Yeah.
and then I read the interview, and then the photography. Oh my God, Richard, you'd love it. It's all black and white photography, no advertisement.
I have seen that magazine.
It's divine, and people, it's like you build a relationship around this magazine. And you say, "Oh, I feel guilty. I haven't read the Sun magazine. It's just piling up. I haven't read it in 3 weeks or 3 months or something like that."
How often does it come out?
Once a month. And the guy who was the guy who started off, Cy Safransky, he's probably 81, but now he's going through dementia. And so they have little snippets about him, entering that sad part of life, where you start forgetting things and you need help for all sorts of day-to-day things. And it's one of the things, as I get older, I say, geez, I hope if there is a God, just give me a heart attack and call it.
Oh,
So-
you don't want to go through dementia.
No, I don't want to go through any kind of bullshit. People sit there,
God, are you listening?
get the fuck out of here. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So I would just like to be good. But, you have, I was just, this is so weird because I was thinking of Karen Greenspan today.
Oh, yeah.
And she had cancer, right?
And she decided to go end of life.
Right. And I was thinking about the end of life when you do it that way. But do you truly know that this is the end? Even though you get all these things that You know, is there something that just lingers a little bit?
I think pain can be a motivator, a big motivator. I think that she was suffering pain, wasn't she?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
she
yeah.
wrote to me. She said, I decided to take the end-of-life drug because I'm having trouble swallowing.
Oh, see, that's
I can understand
But
that.
I can't swallow a pill to take 10.
well. I mean, obviously she could get that,
Right, right.
but I think that you must. I mean, if you're in touch with your body, you know, if you're somebody who exercises and who eats,
You know.
yeah, you kind of start knowing what's going on. That there's got to be something. It's coming, you know. But I mean, I don't know. It depends. If I couldn't swallow, I wouldn't want to be kept alive with tubes.
You know, yeah, that's an interesting thing. Is what you personally can tolerate, and some people they say, well, we do that with our dogs and cats. They're in too much discomfort. I'm going to put them down,
Yeah.
and I'm reluctant to do that with my animals, my pets, because I say, well, you know what?
How do you know? Yeah.
They're not really suffering. So how am
Yeah,
I to tell if they're suffering or not? But there are certain things
Yeah.
that you know because you've been with that animal
Yeah,
for
they-
you know.
They can't.
And
they can't.
you know,
eat.
we're animals
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, yeah.
we know, and then when we see it in somebody else, we know by looking at them that they're ready. They're ready.
And you can see a downturn in people. You know, when
Yeah.
I remember when my mother was in the nursing home. My mother had Parkinson's, but we didn't know she had Parkinson's until she wasn't able to walk. You know, I took her to a neurologist and they didn't diagnose her with it. They just said she needed physical therapy. So we took her in for physical therapy because she was supposed to be going to physical therapy with my sister. My sister was driving her when I was working. I was giving my mother the $20 for the copay because she didn't want to pay the $20 because she thought it was a waste of money. And then I found out
Frugal.
then I found out that when I had to go to physical therapy at that office, I said, "Hey, how's my mom doing?" "Your mom? I haven't seen her in months." She was taking the $20 and taking my sister to breakfast.
Well, she could have been going to
Right.
casino.
So she had to go to in-house physical therapy, and then once she was in there, they told me she had Parkinson's, and then she ended up going to Florida in a nursing home. But when I saw my mother the last time, I could see she was melting.
Yeah.
She was just melting, and I knew it was the last time I was going to see her.
We have a heartfelt story here from our viewer.
But I don't. Oh wow, Jennifer, I'm very.
That must have been the mother's threshold.
You
Yeah.
know,
If I got to wear these diapers, I don't want to live.
you know what, Jennifer?
You know, my
but she
sister
died
said
in her
the same
sleep.
thing.
She
Same
died
thing?
in her sleep. She's
Yeah.
she did well. She did a good job dying.
But
My
yeah,
sister-
everybody has their threshold.
Oh
you
my
know?
God! My sister, when she was in the hospital, they had to put a colostomy bag on her, and then the question was whether that they're going to be able to reverse this. And and my sister Susie said to me, she passed away in end of July. She says, "This is an embarrassment. This is undignified." She says, "I don't want to be having to clean this shit myself, and I don't want anybody else cleaning my shit."
Wow.
But-
that was her threshold.
Yeah, that's it. But then we still thought, well, there's this possibility that they could reverse it, you know.
Yeah,
But
they can sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
But then this other thing, the breathing part came up, you know, like then they says, well, we're trying to take the tube out of her mouth, but she's not able to breathe well on her own. But then if I lost contact here or something like that.
For both ears or one ear?
Both.
Okay. All right, let's fix that.
So anyway,
Let's see, Mr. Yellow, huh?
yeah.
Let's see. Better?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, okay, then what we do is we look over here. You might have pulled on the cord. Let's
Probably.
see. Where is Yellow? Keep going. Keep pulling.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it came out. See?
Please bear with us.
Oh, so I've just
Contact.
pulled the plug on the guy already. Doctor, come in here, pull
Are
the
you
plug.
back to life?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about pulling the plug on
Yeah.
people, and guess what?
How's it feel to come back from the dead?
As
Now
you-
I'll tell you, the last 30 seconds of my life, I said, what the heck is going on?
Well, tell me something about when you are going and seeing people who are dying. Have you had any unusual experiences in that realm?
You know what? I have a nice relationship with the patient, but oftentimes the relationship is soured by the other people in the room. They don't want you to like mess around with them on, if you know, like you have to say, well, is it all right if I say a prayer?
Yeah.
Is it all right if I put my hand on your
Oh, they are very controlling.
Oh my God, yeah, it's horrible. They want to. It's like they can determine what can be done and when and the how, the when, the where, the why of when they die.
Wow.
And it's like, but you have to respect that.
Well, I don't know. If that were me there dying, I think
But if you're like,
yeah, you don't have a lot to say about it. I know, but that's the one.
Wow.
That is the one thing that I.
But you can intercede.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say, Paula, is it okay, Paula?
Yeah.
You give me a nod if it's okay if we do this.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you could.
Well, but I mean, have you had any interesting experiences with people as they die?
Not, it's not really. I've had people die in front of me, and
It's weird, isn't it, when you see the life drain out of them
yeah,
like that? It's
and
such a
and
weird
like I says, oh
experience.
my God, they just passed,
Yeah.
and I had a weird situation with my aunt when she was in hospital, and I went to visit her, and this is going way back, maybe 30 years ago, and she says, oh, I just like to live a little longer just so I could see your kids grow up, and she was in and out, and I'm thinking, my God, this is it,
Yeah.
So so she says, just pray for me. So when I was leaving the hospital, I says, well, I'm going to just pray for a peaceful
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
And so I get a call from my uncle in the middle of the night, and he says the hospital called and says Auntie had taken a turn. So I said, I'll be right over. And I got him. And I says, Auntie she passed. They wouldn't say that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So she passed. So it was the weirdest thing when my uncle got into that room. He like froze at the end of the bed. And like he couldn't go any further to, I put his hands
Yeah.
on her. And I just remember this. I walked up to her, put my hands on her, and it was like I continued the conversation we were having.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was so nuts.
Well,
But,
yeah. Well, the first time, I was in the room. My father died when I was 8, and I walked in the room after he died, and I examined him because I didn't know what dead meant, and so I was kind of examining him. And I was a child. But the first time as an adult that I was in the room with a dead body that wasn't, in a funeral parlor, was my stepfather John. He wasn't actually married to my mother, but they lived together for like 25 years. Okay, and I sat there at the side of his bed after he died, and I'm like, where the hell are you?
yeah.
That's an empty shell. That is not John. It didn't. His expression was not John's.
Yeah.
His body, it was not John. And it's like, you're not John. Where are you? I had this weird experience.
The same thing
Yeah.
happened when I walked into when the wake where my brother was at Bushka down here, and I walked up to the coffin, And my sister-in-law Dorothy was right there by the coffin. I go, "Where's Al?" And she like, I said, "No, really, where's Al?"
Very,
Yeah.
it's a Zen koan.
Yeah. Not here.
Yeah, it's not. That's I know. It's so weird. That's when I decided. After that, I decided to donate my body to this UB medical school. I don't need that shell, that cast off shell. Once I'm done with it, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to bury it. And
No, I feel the exact. Am I doing it? I did it
Oh,
again.
did you pull it again? Follow it down. Keep going.
Oh, you're putting your foot on it. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the
And then
exact
let's-
We
opposite.
keep pulling the plug.
Yeah, you're pulling the plug on yourself.
Ah!
So what we're going to do, we're going to make a little loop in
Yeah,
the
I
wire.
put it
Yeah.
around that
And we're gonna
edge
put
there.
it
Yeah.
there.
I get
we
so
go.
excited when I talk. I flay and talk. And, yeah, I don't do anything where I say when I'm gone, you can play with me and take my eyes out, my lungs out.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You can have everything. You can take it all. I don't care. You need it. You need
Yeah.
a piece of me. Take it. You want to
well,
slice
you know,
me in
when my
small
brother-in-law
pieces and fry
died,
me up, that's fine too.
my sister's asking me all these questions about, you know, they want to do this. I says, Jesus, what the hell does he have left in his body that'd be worth anything to anybody, you know?
Well, just
gold
for
teeth or something?
experimentation.
Right,
they
right,
can
right.
have. They can. You know, if I could.
Well, skin,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell? I don't need it. I'm done with it. You know?
Well, and then they say, whoever they are, that heart transplants, people will take on that personality of
Wow,
the person with that of the heart that they have.
Tom.
So,
Yeah.
but I've read somewhere where the heart actually has a brain of itself.
Well, stomach does. Your stomach also has a brain.
I'm hungry.
But there's
The
a
heart has a brain.
well, your stomach is your second brain.
Right.
It controls so much of your the automatic
Right.
stuff in your body. But there's a movie called Return to Me. And if you haven't seen this movie, Tom, you have to see it. You have to see it. You will love it so much because it's so charming that it's not corny charming. It's
They're
charming.
not grotesque or anything like that.
Right. So a woman ends up getting a heart transplant from another woman, and she ends up falling in love with her husband. And
His husband, her.
the woman
too
the
complicated.
woman who has the new heart meets the ex-husband, and they fall in love. And I mean, it sounds
Yeah,
so
yeah,
corny.
yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds so corny, but it's not. It's really charming. It's a charming movie. You must see that movie.
In the Middle Ages, they thought that the thoughts came from the heart. Before the brain was considered they thought all that the brain does is it regulates your breathing and everything, but your thoughts, those
Yeah.
come from your heart.
Well, and I've said that to people in pastoral care, like, you know, my father's mansion has many rooms, but I said, your heart is your mansion. So your heart has so many rooms that could open up for everybody that's out there.
Yeah, and I've thought about that poetically as, you know, you love someone, but then there's more people in your life that you love. It just makes your heart it makes your heart bigger, you know, and not physically bigger, but you have enough capacity to love many people. You know, it doesn't have to be just one, you know, it's
Well, you know, I was thinking about how crazy it is with people now with this political correctness and woke or whatever they say that but Merry Christmas. I thought people get so upset about saying Merry Christmas or how can I keep it general. You know, and so
I never
would you-
met anybody who was offended by Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Did you?
right?
Did you ever
No,
meet
I mean,
anybody?
but you can see it. you can see it where the people say happy holidays
Sure.
because they don't
Yeah.
want to offend the non-Christian. But I says Christmas in a sense. I was writing this in my journal. In a sense, is non-religious.
I've always thought it was.
Yeah,
Right,
it hasn't been religious in nature for centuries.
It's a spirit thing. And so we're fortunate that at this time of the year, that spirit allows us to glom onto it and wish each other happiness and joy. And it has nothing to do with God.
No, Jesus was not born on December 25th.
Right.
I have news for you.
And so
But,
I was saying to Mary Grace, my wife, the other day, I says, I'm reading this story about the inn being full, and why was it full?
They were doing the census,
right?
Yeah.
But I never thought of it. It's just like it was. But the story is out there for people to believe that they were outcasts. They wouldn't be taken into somebody's.
That particular part of the Bible was written to enhance the magic of the religion, to get some king. I don't remember who it was, but some king to become a Christian. I don't remember which gospel.
Not Herod, that's for sure.
This was, of course, it's written over
Right.
100 years after Jesus' death. So it was written to enhance the religion, to make it more magical, to attract this one king. And I don't remember who the king was. But whoever wrote that passage about the birth of Jesus, whichever gospel that was. So,
Luke.
Was it Luke?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But there was a census going on.
Yeah.
And you had to register. It was almost like, a register in the area that you were born. So then they had to travel from where they were at and into, so.
Yeah, but basically it was a made up story to fit some other older.
A lot of those stories were made.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Agreed.
to fit, it was made to fit some of the Old Testament predictions.
But I like the fact that
It will come out of Egypt or whatever. It will come.
I like the fact that there's a story that was written, how many years ago, and we still play with it to say, well, really, what is this story telling me? So I think the problem I have with a lot of people is who read the story and they lock themselves into their interpretation of the story.
True.
And then that's the end of the story.
Yeah. As a Catholic, were you encouraged to read the Bible? I certainly wasn't.
I don't even know if we had a Bible.
Oh, you didn't have the big Bible?
Oh, yeah, well, there was
big
one, but I
fancy
don't know
one?
where it came
Did you have
from.
a big fancy Bible? No. Yeah, we always had
But
a big fancy one.
I love the Mass to have the Old Testament, the Psalm,
right. They give you the Disney version.
Right,
They
but
never tell
but
you
that's
about.
enough for me to take me
Yeah.
on a journey.
Yeah.
Because I say, geez, I heard this thing 100 times, but today it's telling me this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that is true. Anytime you hear a story, you're going to take something else out of it. I found the stone. Richard, what's on your list? This is the second week
okay.
in a row.
I want to talk a little bit about my history with Tom.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to
I
that.
met him in the 1970s,
Okay.
and he worked at the courthouse as an employee of the state, and I worked at the courthouse in the paralegal service.
Yes.
Okay. So we got to know each other, and in his little cubicle where he worked, he had things like American Poetry Review.
Ah.
And he would keep them, they'd stack
Yeah.
up, and every so often he'd say, oh, look at this poem from American Poetry Review. Right? And it's usually, sometimes they had famous poets in there, but sometimes they seemed like they would take anybody. If you sent them a poem that inspired them, they would publish it.
The Sun does that.
So that's why I thought of this when you mentioned the sun. So, like, for example, what Tom would do is if he found a poem that he really liked, would you, like, write to the newspaper and say, could I talk to, like, Madeline DeFries?
Oh, my God. I can't believe you're talking about Madeline DeFries, because I was just, I just took a quote from one of her poems. And, yeah, she wrote.
So they put him in touch with her, and they developed a friendship.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
I do that. I still do that. You know, there was a guy, Philip Dow, who taught English literature, British lit, I think, at UB. And I said, geez, I wonder if this guy's still living. So I Googled it, and sure and shit, he's alive and well in his 80s and living in California.
Ah.
And I says, hi, this is Tom Mazur from Buffalo, New York. I says, you were my professor. He goes, holy fuck, that was over 50 years ago.
You obviously made an impression on me.
I says, well, it's so. Here's an interesting thing. We had this long conversation. Then he says, you know, what I try to impress on students is that they will learn by memory at least 3 to 4 poems in their lifetime that they could. And I says, that is just a great thing, because poetry will do that to you. It's just a little snippet that hangs with you, but it changes. Even it's like with the gospel readings. You know, you can say, geez, I read this 50, 60 years ago, but there's something I never thought about.
It's so true. To reread something that you read like as a young person and reread it again. I do that all the time. My boyfriend in high school, he went to Emerson, and he stole a book of poetry from the library at school for me. And I loved that. That was the nicest gift I'd ever gotten up to that point.
Do you still have it?
Stolen book of poetry. Unfortunately, I thought I kept it, but I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time. And they had some real great poems, really great poems in that book. And so I think to myself, I know parts of them, like I am nobody, who are you? Are you nobody too? Don't tell them, they'll banish us, you know. It's like,
Do you know that poem?
it's Emily Dickinson.
Right.
Yeah.
I just got a weird surprise in the mail. I got a book sent to me from Amazon, and I opened it up, and I says, oh, I was excited because I always order books through different things, you know. And a lot of times I buy used books.
Yeah, always buy used books.
But then I'm going, I got it, and I says, I don't remember ordering this. I said, am I losing my mind? So I looked at my history on Amazon, and I didn't order it. So somebody sent me that book anonymously.
Which book?
A book of it annoyed me, the title, because it says 2025, the year 2025, best poems of the year 2025. I said, how could they say this anthology holds the best when there's so many poets that haven't been published, you know?
Yeah.
Sure. That ties into the topic of the American Poetry Review. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, there's multiple facets to this story, okay?
Yeah.
So here's the next facet. Who is in this photo? I want to see how well you know this person.
Ginsberg.
Bob
Ginsberg?
Bob Dylan, and Ferengeti.
Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, that's exactly why I showed it, because some people have survived over the decades, and we remember who they are,
Yeah.
and other ones have faded.
Yeah.
The third person is poet Michael McClure.
Okay.
All right? So I just looked at a biography of Francis Crick. So between 1951 and 1953, Watson and Crick, they worked on DNA. They published their famous paper on how DNA is involved in the molecule, and that just broke open the field of genetic engineering, et cetera, and they became very, very famous. Now, Francis Crick, he stayed in as a scientist and he kept working, but he liked reading. He liked bookstores. So when he was in San Francisco, he stopped at City Lights Book, and they had a whole section of what at the time in 1959 would be their American poetry reviews.
Yeah.
And it was from the Beat Generation.
Mm-hmm.
So he picks it up, starts going through it. Oh, this poem is good. This is good. I never heard of this poet. He buys it. He takes it home. He pins it up on the wall, and he underlines the parts that he likes. And then whenever he needs inspiration, he goes and he looks on the wall, and he sees things like, this is powerful knowledge. It makes us smile. Or cities are swirls of population. Or life begins with coils and molecules are nebula. In between the atom and the molecule, the stars in the galaxy, stands man, the howling mammal, contrived out of meat by chance and necessity.
Wow.
So he's thinking, oh, if I ever see anything by Michael McClure again, I'm gonna buy it, because I think this, like Madeleine de Vries, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens? 20 years passes, and and Francis Crick is at his publisher. And have a seat. He'll be right with you. And she goes, Michael McClure on line 2. He goes, okay, I'll take the call. So when he goes in, he goes, you know Michael McClure? He goes, yeah, he's gotten a big following, and we publish his books. He says, can you put me in touch with him? Yes, you can. So he gives him all his contact information, and he calls up Michael McClure, and he goes, saw you in I saw it in 1959, et cetera, et cetera. And he says, the way you write is very inspiring, and it helps me in my work. And Michael McClure says, what does you work at? He says, well, I work in biology, et cetera, et cetera. He says, but McClure says, I read all the biology papers that come out in Science, and it inspires me too. And as they're talking,
Wow.
it
They were on the
finally
same-
dawns on Michael McClure, this guy's talking about molecules and DNA, and he said, have you read the thing by Watson and Crick about DNA? And he goes, yeah, I'm Francis Crick.
I love it.
They become friends.
Wow.
And for the next 30 years, when McClure writes a new poem, he sends it to Watson. When Watson writes a new paper, he sends it to McClure.
Wow.
And
What a
all the
great-
way up until their deaths, they stay in touch.
Yeah, that's really fabulous. I had a book of poetry that I found at a thrift store, and it was a book of poetry, but the theme, it was by a guy who was an archaeologist, and his poetry had archaeology themes.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because it was beautifully
I was just
written.
reading a thing about Robinson Jeffers, and he was very much into
Archaeology?
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah, there was one poem about walking through a city that was just mind blowing. When I left Buffalo, we got rid of all our books. I had people come over and everybody took books because I didn't want them to go to, to just be sent to Goodwill in their death. So I had book. It wasn't really a party, but I'd book people come over and take their books.
I'm trying to find his Madeleine de Vries quote.
She's still publishing?
No, she's she was well into her 90s, I think, when she passed.
Oh.
But it was interesting that we hooked up to begin with. I still have that letter.
Of her writing to you?
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
was
that
a
was-
former nun?
Yeah, she was. I gotta show you this T-shirt.
And now for the stripping portion of our show. Adult behavior.
Let's
This is
see.
a self-portrait.
You drew it?
No.
Somebody did.
What's her name down here?
Oh,
Her name, she signed it?
No, well, this was. She was married to Pablo Picasso.
Okay.
And he says, you can't live without me.
Oh, she's the one that left. I just heard about this recently.
Yeah, and so I found it interesting that she says, "Oh yeah." Well, she left him, and that was like unheard of for a woman to be established with a relationship,
She wasn't.
and then all of a
They
sudden,
weren't married though. They were, and
Well,
she had children with them, right?
I think they had one child. I don't know if he had.
He had a daughter with her, and took the daughter with her. Yeah.
Right. But then it reminded me of this Madeline DeFries, who was in a convent for 30 years and then says, I've had enough. And so for somebody to all of a sudden leave something that they held dear for those many years and get on and do something different.
Yeah.
I often wonder how many people are sad that they stuck with something and didn't go on to to do something they really wanted to do.
Do you know Karen Armstrong? She was a nun. Karen Armstrong. Yeah, she wrote the most amazing books. She was a nun for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant woman, and I think she wrote The History of God, which was one of my favorite books. And she was a nun for a long time, and she decided that she was going to leave, and she's brilliant woman.
Today, before I left, I was fumbling with this picture frame, and I got all these things tucked in there, and out flips this card from like a wake, and now this gal lived in Ireland, and she was part of the Medical Missionaries of Mary for 25 years. She grew up in Bailey and Delvin. And it was interesting when she sent me a letter one time. She says, "Tom, I've got to tell you something. I left the convent after 25 years in the medical mission." She says, "Because I met a man, and she." Like, how old was she? She had to be in her 40s when she met this man or something. Yeah. But she had 2 or 3 children with him in Ireland. And she had this long Polish name, and he was from Ireland. And so then I get this sweet and sad letter about Diane dying. And then he sent me the mass card. But anyway, this is something, I took this picture and I doctored it up in the room. But that's the Madeline DeFries quote. So read that and see if it means anything to you.
Yeah, I'll read it out loud. So, is this okay?
Right.
So it's nothing is what it pretends. It gathers to a loss of leaves and graves, winter in the breath. Nothing is what it pretends. So that's okay. To a loss of leaves and graves. It's beautifully written. I don't know if I understand what she's getting at.
What's your interpretation of that?
I don't know.
Oh.
I looked at that. For some reason, I was thinking about Madeline and people. Then I was thinking about people who decided they wanted to move on to something different.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, it's stuck right here. I go, what does this mean? And I don't know.
Yeah.
But I read it again and again. And even now I'm going, what is she saying here?
I don't.
That's true if you read any of the poems by Wallace Stevens.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You often feel, now this means something, but I'm not sure, but it sure is written nice.
Right, yeah. But isn't that enough? Isn't that enough?
If it's musical language, I do like a little meaning. I like a little context with my words, but I do like beautiful.
Well, you write.
I do.
Now, when you write, is there like a rhythm when you?
Yeah, definitely. I am very. I'm very musical.
When I write, I'll da 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 da.
Well, for me, it's more internal rhyme. But there's definitely a rhythm to it, and I as long as something's musical, I can remember it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, told Greg, I said, if they would have made math to music, I'd be brilliant right now.
Well, when I was reading books that I didn't understand for literature class, I had to sometimes get into a lullaby rhythm with my foot, and they would be able to carry me through the chapters.
There is a. This has happened to me many times, especially when I'm reading something like Russian literature or something that was written initially in another language, because I can't read in any other language. There'll be a rhythm to the words, and I can't. And sometimes it takes me 2 chapters to catch the rhythm. But once I catch the rhythm of the way the person is talking, it's easy. But sometimes it's like. I mean, I remember thinking Thomas Pynchon was a really difficult read, but because I couldn't catch his rhythm for a long time into the book. But that's how it all comes down to that, from the way my mind works. That's how I process information.
Are you a fan of Pynchon?
No, I shouldn't say I'm not, but I don't know his work.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Well, I just asked because the movie came out this year based on his book,
On which book?
Vineland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
And
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. And you could see Pynchon's influence in the script, even though the director rewrote it.
Did you like it?
I did. I would even watch it again.
Yeah, yeah.
It has that and it's an interesting topic. Like, what happened to all the revolutionaries in the 60s who wanted to overthrow the system, who never gave up the dream? So it's like a fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, if they had kept going, what would have happened to the U.S.? And I liked it. I mean, he was smart getting Leonardo DiCaprio to play a starring role, because, boy, is he a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And you
sure
could
is.
see how Sean Penn agreed to be in the movie because he wanted to be in the same movie with it, and how hard Sean Penn is trying to be like.
Is that on? Do you know if it's on a platform? Or,
It's on Netflix, so
Oh,
you should be able to see it.
I can see Netflix. Yeah, I've got Netflix.
So now there's Netflix is trying to buy
Warner Brothers.
and there's people saying don't let this happen. Don't
Yeah,
let,
there's people who saying don't let it happen. Yeah,
because it's going to raise.
yeah.
Well, it might also bring more movies into you can see more things.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of things you still can't see.
I know, because right now there's you have to subscribe to a number of platforms
Right.
if you want to get everything.
But
it's a common thing. Like, what
it's
platform
horrible.
is it
Well,
on?
Greg,
Yeah.
Greg will order it from if it's in the library system. Greg will order it and they'll send it to Kenmore on the DVD,
Cool.
and we'll watch it on DVD.
One battle after another.
Yeah.
That's the name of the
Well,
movie.
Oh.
I subscribe to HBO, and so you get 5 or 6 channels. But it's horrible. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So you're going, I don't know what I pay for that, but it's
It
just
used to be
disheartening.
different. It used to be different in the beginning. You got to see a whole array of different kinds of
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
and not first run, but second run movies, and it was worth it. But I mean, I have a lot of different platforms, and I don't know. We watched a movie recently, and it was an Italian movie, and oh man, was it good. I'm going to have to ask Greg for the name to.
Sure. I always like movie recommendations.
Really, really good, Richard. Excellent movie. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was just brilliant. But so we do we'll find them on different. He'll record them. See, he always looks through all the stuff that's available, and he'll record the things, so we can go through the commercials if it's on commercial TV.
So the director, Paul Thomas Anderson, he rewrote Vineland, all right?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with that when the director says, it's a good book, but I want to change it? Like Benicio del Toro, he rewrote Frankenstein, and he made the movie based on his revision.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that,
I
too.
don't
It's
have a
another-
problem with
it's
it
another
because
view.
there's so much that when they say, well, this is the movie about this book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already it's not the
Yeah.
book. It's interpretation through
Yeah,
another
and-
event
Right. So
medium.
they're inspired by it, and that's what they do. And I think that, you know what? Speaking of which, we watched Sweet Jesus yesterday, the version that Lori edited.
Yeah.
You know, she took out a lot of stuff. She took
Yeah.
out maybe more stuff than I would have taken out, but we watched it, and you know, I gotta tell you, you did some amazing camera work on that movie. I was like, we were watching it, and I'm saying, what a great shot this is, and what a great, like the way when the guys were coming to arrest Jesus and the foot shot, you know, when they all came in and they all stood there and they that was really well done. So much of that stuff was well done. You really did a nice job, Richard.
Well, I just wrote to you about Eisenstadt photographing at the.
Yes.
He's a famous photographer. So when the League of Nations in the 1930s had a get together in Switzerland, they said, "Would you come and photograph, the event?" And he said, "Sure." And then in a break, when there was a break in the meeting, everybody went outside, and he's wandering through the crowd, takes a picture of Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. Goebbels did not like that a Jewish person was taking his picture, and he gave. You see that look?
Yeah.
He gave him this look like, "I want to kill you," and then
He obviously did want to.
But the war is over.
over the well, it's 32, so it's
Right.
before. So over the decades, whenever Eisenstadt would have a museum, of his photographs, people would often say, "Weren't you afraid when Goebbels gave you that look and you took the picture?" And I liked what he said. He said, "When I have a camera in my hands, I have no fear."
I think you have
That's-
similar.
Yeah, so shooting that movie, whatever location we were in, I was just in the zone.
He'd find the best shot, and the stuff that we did by the foot of fairy, that stuff is beautiful. The stuff for just I mean, just some of the shots, just some of the normal shots. I mean, not even without even using a beautiful background. You just had some really great angles. So I'm watching this as a movie that I had nothing to do with almost, because it's been so long since I've watched it. And I'm saying, wow, the cinematographer here is really good.
Interesting though, when I was in Vietnam, we were told, be careful with the camera. The Vietnamese people do not like to be photographed. And I don't know if there was something in their belief system.
Sure.
Like if you capture their soul.
Well, that's like Native Americans have
So
that.
then if you had the camera, you'd have to.
You had your own technique.
Oh, but, yeah, I mean, you have to, but then it has. You want a candid shot, but you want it real.
Yeah.
I thought when I was doing a lot of candid work, public functions were the best, like parades and things like that.
Sure.
So you're given more freedom because
Right.
it's a public event.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can be you can catch people in a not so nice of a pose sometimes,
Yeah.
and then you characterize them by that photograph.
Sure.
I told you that story about the woman at the bar. She says, "This isn't me," and I said, everybody said, "This is you. This is you. That's you. He took that picture of you." She said, "That's not me."
Right. Because she has an image in her mind of
Right.
who she is.
Yeah,
And
but
I
now-
once took a picture of my brother, and I liked it so much I made a print, and I showed it to him, and he goes, not good. I said, "But this is how you look," and he said, "But that's not how I see myself."
Right.
Ah,
Isn't
yeah,
that interesting?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
But
not how I see myself.
Did you ever try to do with your phone a self-portrait?
Yeah, I don't like selfies that much, but I'll do them. My daughter likes
I
them.
tried it the other day, and I go, "Oh my God!" I hated it, but I got to find it.
Well, you can't get the camera away from your face far enough that your nose doesn't look huge. That's my interpretation. But
Oh, I don't know.
But you know what? I take candid pictures of people with my. I'll pretend I'm scrolling,
Nice.
and
nice.
I'll take pictures of people.
Now that's your self-portrait?
Well, I was just farting around.
You look a little glum there. you look glum.
Do I look
Is
close?
this the kind of picture where you can see yourself and then you take
Yeah,
a
you
picture?
can see yourself.
Well, yeah, you
Okay,
you
you see the
can.
mirror image.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes. So you spend a lot of time going.
Well, and especially if if you're just sitting there like this, you go, "Well, I really should be sitting up like this."
Yeah, and then you said, and then my
Yeah.
daughter's got all kinds of tricks. She says, you don't ever photograph from underneath. You have to photograph from up
Or
here.
you got these things
Oh.
too.
And up here, and then it makes it gives your face a different angle or whatever.
Huh.
And I'm like, okay.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, professional photographers, when they're dealing with doing a wedding and dealing, the people go, "Oh no, that's not, I don't look like this."
Well, I'll never forget my I used to always take pictures and not want any people in the pictures. That was always my thing. Oh, we're done.
Oh, yeah, we got to say
We'll-
goodbye.
We'll have to say goodbye. Anyway, thank you so much, Tom, for
well,
coming
thank
on.
you
This was
for
so
inviting,
fun.
and this has been
thank you,
fun.
Richard, as always, for
Yeah.
facilitating.
Were we on topic for the most part?
Oh, we didn't have